Hi, I'm Randy and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like hi-fi equipment, speakers, DACs, amps, turntables, receivers should cost more than a whole cow or a half a cow that you have slaughtered and then quartered up, put into a deep freeze. Maybe you have to buy a new deep freeze, but it still shouldn't cost more than a new deep freeze and a half of a cow that can feed your family for a half a year. So, and this doesn't. It's the Matrix Mini i3 Pro. So grab some Jameson, crank up the Dropkick Murphys. Let's talk about the Matrix Mini i3 Pro. Today's sponsor is Major Blood. He didn't get nearly enough credit from Cobra Commander and Destro. Major Blood. He's still relevant. He's still relevant today. All right. Matrix Mini. All right. What is it? Well, that gets a little bit complicated because this isn't just one product. Okay. It's a variety of products. If I had to say, if I really had to pigeonhole this thing into one product, it's a DAC. And it's a balanced DAC. It has balanced connections on the back and RCA connections. It's Wi-Fi network enabled. It has a digital input, has a coax input. So, if I had to say this was only one product, that would be a DAC. However, it does some other things. It has Apple AirPlay 2, so you can do all that. It has Bluetooth. Has a headphone amp into it, okay? Yeah, there we go. Headphone amp, balanced and unbalanced headphone amp. And here's the interesting point. It can be a Roon endpoint or Roon ready, whatever you call it. You put it on your network and then you pop it in, okay? The DAC in here is Saber. So it's a Saber Dac. Sounds very nice. Really high signal to noise ratio when using balanced. Good dynamic range when using really good dynamic range, either both balanced or RCA. So DAC first. This is a DAC first, which does other things. Okay. You can hook this up to Wi-Fi. Frankly, I got it to hook up to Wi-Fi, but I never got Roon to recognize it when I was hooked up to Wi-Fi. So what I did is I used, it's a TP-Link mini router, and you can basically make it a Wi-Fi and then Ethernet connection. When I hooked this up through Ethernet or RJ45 connection, then everything worked. It showed up. So it's $850. And the value proposition on this, if you just look at it as a DAC, can be kind of all right? But let's not look at it as just a DAC. Let's kind of peel back the onion into its component parts. Number one, it's a balanced headphone amp, and it sounds quite good. I listened to it last night. And of course, that could be a product of the headphone amp. It could also be a product of the DAC. It could also be a product of everything else, okay? So let's say a balanced headphone amp, let's say $200. All right. The DAC in here is also MQA capable. So let's say a balanced DAC that has MQA capabilities and can accept digital optical, digital coax. A DAC that's very similar is the iFi Neo IDSD. That's $650. It doesn't have any streaming capabilities. Okay, let's be conservative. So let's say $500 for the DAC. All right, so we're at $700 for a DAC and a headphone amp that does MQA, and it's balanced. Then we add on Roon. How much is that worth? I don't know. That's ultimately up to you. So even though $850 seems a bit high, if you start adding everything up from a component standpoint, it's not outside. It's still in the ballpark. Still in the ballpark. It's not terribly expensive. It's got a cool display on it that shows you, bit rates as well as actually cool album art. And I don't know why, but I really enjoyed the album art. On the back, again, you have the balanced outputs, RCA outputs. It also has an RCA input. which is pretty cool. So if you have another device, you can bring it in, and this basically becomes your preamp. So it becomes really a digital preamp, which can also handle one RCA. Also comes with a remote. Appos sent this to me, and the remote was missing. So we made it work without the remote. And you can make it work without the remote. There's a little button on the back here that you click, and then it goes into the menu mode. I think this sounds great. I think this fits into a very tight category of people. And that is folks that are Roon users or Tidal users. Even if you're a Tidal user and you don't use Roon, part of what you're paying for is this Roon endpoint. And this is not a streamer, okay? A streamer is like a Blue Sound Node 2i that has access to all the different platforms and has its own proprietary app that is a collection point for all the other apps. This is not a streamer. It has streaming capabilities, but it's not a streamer. There's no Matrix app. You have something that can do AirPlay, and then you have something that can do Roon. So if you're not using Roon, it's not really a streamer. It's an AirPlay device. Even a Raspberry Pi is more of a streamer because depending upon what operating system you use, it's got its own app. So I don't like it when people call this a streamer. This is a DAC that has streaming capabilities. And over at ASR, they measured this with their sound robot, and it measures really well. And it sounds like it measures really well. But the way that they did this, the ASR review on this was actually legit because this is a DAC first. It's not a streamer first like the Blue Sound Node 2i. Would I recommend this product? Yes, but only if you're heavily into Roon and you are a big Tidal fan on Roon. It's the only way I recommend this. Otherwise, you're just paying for stuff that you don't need. It sounds good. It's cool. It's built well. It looks pretty. It's heavy. It has Wi-Fi capabilities, but again, I couldn't get it to hook up to Roon with Wi-Fi. So, it's a good product. I like it. I've just started getting into Roon, and it's been a lot of fun. Products like this you can hook up anywhere and then just use your phone as a remote and use Roon to control this thing. And once again, this is not a streamer, because if it was a streamer, they'd have their own app. But guess what? You have to use the Roon app to get it, okay? And this is not a Tidal Connect device. I hope they upgrade it to be Tidal Connect, but even if they upgrade it to be Tidal Connect and you're not using Roon, I probably wouldn't recommend this, okay? If you're not using Roon, this is a very expensive DAC headphone amp. All right, so kind of a weird review. I really like the product, but only if you're using a lot of Roon. If you want to support the channel, you can. You can sign up for Amazon HD Music for free, and actually it's been rolled into Amazon Music Unlimited. So you can sign up for Amazon Music Unlimited for free. Click on the link, sign up, you get 3 months for free. I get a couple of dollars. You can also buy anything through the links that I have. Most of those links are affiliate links. I will get a small commission if you purchase things through there, and it doesn't cost you any more. You can also sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have patron-only Zooms. We have a patron-only Facebook group. Sometimes we have patron-only content. Okay? So, don't binge watch anything. Binge listen to the Dropkick Murphys through your Matrix Mini i3 Pro and fill your soul with happiness. With that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.